Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today member states face three simultaneous global challenges: the COVID-19 pandemic and its consequences, the realization of the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals, and finally, the existential threat of climate catastrophe. Adequate financing is key to addressing each one of these challenges. This will be the first priority for ECOSOC during our presidency. Such financing will have to be mobilized at both the national and international levels. The ability of developing countries to mobilize domestic finance is obviously constrained. This capacity has further diminished due to the grave impact of the COVID crisis. In its interim report, the FACTI Panel has identified the monumental resources which the developing countries lose annually due to illicit financial flows as a result of corruption, bribery, crimes, and tax evasion. They could not afford to lose these resources in the best of times. They certainly cannot afford it in the aftermath of the COVID crisis, which has triggered major economic contractions in most developing countries. To allow illicit flows to continue at this time would be nothing short of criminal. I therefore welcomed the initiative by my predecessor, Ambassador Mona Jewel, and the previous President of the General Assembly, Ambassador Tijani Muhammad Bande, to set up the FACTI panel. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, illicit financial flows stifle opportunities, deny vulnerable people access to basic services and infrastructure, and condemn them to a life of inequality and poverty. These flows are a key contributory factor for the economic underperformance of developing countries and a major obstacle to poverty eradication. The estimates of illicit financial flows suggested in the interim report of the panel are appalling and signify the urgency and scale of the challenge that must be addressed to halt and reverse such flows. Financial accountability, transparency, and integrity is a global problem and requires global solutions. I agree with the gaps and challenges identified by the panel and in this discussion. I would like to flag a few equity issues. First, the report mentions that the volume of assets returned to countries of origin constitute only a tiny fraction of the proceeds of illicit financing. There are several deficiencies in the existing mechanisms under Chapter 5 of the UNCAC. Therefore, I feel that the panel should identify actionable proposals to strengthen the frameworks for the return of stolen assets. Second, at present, the countries which are most impacted by illicit financial flows are not part of such discussions. They must be included, but as equal members, not as associates of existing organizations. Third, we need to develop more coherent and equitable rules on tax collection and eliminate tax havens. A minimum global corporate tax could resolve this problem. Fourth, the digital economy presents several simultaneous opportunities, but also challenges. There is a need to ensure that all companies, including multinationals, pay taxes where economic activity occurs and value is created. Fifth, the panel may also wish to review the role of certain bilateral investment treaties and establish more equitable structures of international financial adjudication. Some of the recent punitive awards against developing countries have been depicted by learned professors as mugging them. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that the final report of the panel would suggest ways to address the gaps, challenges, and shortcomings in the current legal and institutional framework. to promote financial accountability, transparency, and integrity. It is my intention to bring the findings of the panel into the work of the Economic and Social Council, especially through the Forum on Financing for Development. I thank you very much.